Why is your FNPF savings important? Your FNPF savings is important to your financial security in retirement. Once you start earning an income, a portion of it is set aside for your retirement savings. As the custodian of your funds, the FNPF has to ensure that your savings are not only kept for your retirement, but that it earns interest while you're still working, helping grow your savings for your future. Putting away money for tomorrow gives you peace of mind and financial independence. This is the key to a better life during retirement. You can also withdraw some of your FNPF to help you with housing, education, funeral, unemployment, medical, and approved natural disaster schemes. These are the pre-retirement benefits. When you reach the age of 55, you have the choice to either fully withdraw or choose one of our retirement products. The FNPF, securing your future.
Retirement. Rita, a single mother, wants a good future for her children. She knows that education will help achieve that, so she pays additional contributions to FNPF to save up for tertiary education fees. Apete works in Suva and supports his parents in the village. He wishes to build his own home, so he pays additional contributions to help him achieve this dream. FNPF's additional contributions helps you invest in short-term goals while saving for retirement. Contribute more, grow your savings, and achieve your goals. FNPF, securing your future.
Retirement. We'll all get there one day. With FNPF's new retirement product, the Drawdown Account, you can plan for an enjoyable and sustainable retirement. The Drawdown Account is a tax-free investment, and account holders receive a monthly income, one partial withdrawal a year, receive interest at the end of the financial year, amongst other benefits. For more information, log on to our website www.myfnpf.com.fj. FNPF, securing your future.
We work hard for our money, and because of that, now more than ever, belonging to the Fiji National Provident Fund is reassuring. Along with hundreds of thousands of Fijians, we know that our money invested is for us and us alone, growing our retirement funds in ways we could never do on our own. FNPF is securing our future, our dreams, and that's why we know we're all in good hands. FNPF, securing your future.
Saya bakili masanga buluk kadiwa. Turangan ni nambau diwa. Natikin na umboretu. Nasya na ba turang hotel. Hindi kita kami pension yung balata na maraman na tinang kung kwenta lang ay pension. Doon na ipakasal sa butok ko biyaw may nanon manasingan na kupakadingon siya na utimay na ilaw. Siya na utimay na dakadak. Yung bumbita tu yang doon na ilaw, meron yung pension kina mapakatik ko ay pension tikong ko sa utiros nga bulok kalima na yambaki si pension tingang ko.
Kani mbula binaka, eu nedango a Sariana, gerna tambua oniburi. Au sa mbaki wadu sanga bulu, wa daka banga sinibuli. Au sa umusuga tuna nangwila wa FNP avena ngano sa baka dengu kina. Dengu eno tika diwa sanga bulu kaono. May nang momento ay sa mbaki ro sanga bulu kalima, nanong tora chika na labong suki na FNPF. Kilabia una kena binaka, wa ambula tumay kinenan do nga unang balaw. Di na nga sabi sa mi bakabula, nangaw nanggo, O sa tau te sarau tiuti ko na ilawa yangi sa may ambaki uro sa ngabulu, sa malumulumu ng bula, sa angase sara, sa rin nakaurawata o sa wakani, warin dotal na ba sos nila po may kay may biyaw, ngwa na FNPF sarang sa ambula tiko kine na ngaw nang go.
Santo na may bukiliw na ilaw ni pensyeni, au tauretik ko na bibula. Sasya ka na may madorwa, sasya ka nito na iwura-wura nilabo. Pensyeni na bibula sa rauto ko kinanambula. Kaya nang karabin na sama ito yan akor, karabin ito na itabi ni Vanua, katakang ko na sulya sana, pinakatinayali mo sa nga bulan dola. Yan na Vanua sabi mo kinapinsin, na loto, na suli ba kami sinari, yan na Vanua sa may bukit kinapinsin.
Nakakiri sarang nga, erawatang angwa nila po ni Provident Fund. Pabuliya kinanakulang ko, naimbe, nanitaw ka na nakakiri baka pumapali. Na fridge, ito na nang deep. Wakuliya kaya na Provident Fund, nila po ni Provident Fund. O sa sinraw tato nila, kaya makambe ka waray nila po ni Provident Fund, ang tin kay taon, sa ato nga bakang doy wala. Sila po ni Provident Fund, ikaw tiyutsugay taon. O wanda mo ito kakir. O kanya kinantoni, kanya tsura na kataw, kaya mo ninangwani. O kanina karachunggoy na lang po ni Provident Fund.
Kaya mga malawtan, alaglakan pinsin, buwan global, yung garabin sana tugtog ni quality sana tugtog ko balata na ito mula magagokan
Ikianda kun level kanta mo moda tunde chik mo suka na may labon don may labon masya FNPF na ronyo le mo mai mandalang bulak to akina
O karikan na option binakantuan doon ng dadakawa. Tapi ito nang tayo laban na bukni pensyeni na basic na matak. Ewan ni rorong ito rong tu weekend kaya nang daw ito ni sasya ka na ilabo ni matin tu sa FNPF sasya ka na ilabo iya nangaw na kima mi baka tingo may kina kima mi bitan ni mami lamay kumay pensin meron may go siyantina tiko nga nabaya lalat ya baka kima mi FNPF kaya na bukan pensin.
Preserved account versus general account. All FNPF members' accounts are split into two, a preserved account and a general account. The preserved account reserves 70% of a member's total balance, which can only be accessed at retirement or earlier if you are purchasing or building your first home. The general account is made up of 30% of a member's total balance and caters for pre-retirement benefits such as education, medical, housing, unemployment and funeral withdrawals. It can also be accessed during natural disasters. Previously, members could access up to 2/3 of their total balance. This is why some members now have a low FNPF balance because they have withdrawn their funds too frequently. With the 70-30 split, we are now able to preserve members' funds so that they can have a meaningful income when they reach the age of 55. This is a positive outcome of the FNPF reform. Remember, any withdrawal decreases your balance and lessens the chances for you to apply for further withdrawals, leaving you with less funds for your retirement. The FNPF, securing your future. Why is your FNPF savings important? Your FNPF savings is important to your financial security in retirement. Once you start earning an income, a portion of it is set aside for your retirement savings. As the custodian of your funds, the FNPF has to ensure that your savings are not only kept for your retirement, but that it earns interest while you're still working, helping grow your savings for your future. Putting away money for tomorrow gives you peace of mind and financial independence. This is the key to a better life during retirement. You can also withdraw some of your FNPF to help you with housing, education, funeral, unemployment, medical and approved natural disaster schemes. These are the pre-retirement benefits. When you reach the age of 55, you have the choice to either fully withdraw or choose one of our retirement products. The FNPF, securing your future.
Rita, a single mother, wants a good future for her children. She knows that education will help achieve that, so she pays additional contributions to FNPF to save up for tertiary education fees. Apete works in Suva and supports his parents in the village. He wishes to build his own home, so he pays additional contributions to help him achieve this dream. FNPF's additional contributions helps you invest in short-term goals while saving for retirement. Contribute more, grow your savings and achieve your goals. FNPF, securing your future.
Retirement. We'll all get there one day. With FNPF's new retirement product, the Drawdown Account, you can plan for an enjoyable and sustainable retirement. The Drawdown Account is a tax-free investment and account holders receive a monthly income, one partial withdrawal a year, receive interest at the end of the financial year, amongst other benefits. For more information, log on to our website www.myfnpf.com.fj. FNPF, securing your future.
We work hard for our money, and because of that, now more than ever, belonging to the Fiji National Provident Fund is reassuring. Along with hundreds of thousands of Fijians, we know that our money invested is for us and us alone, growing our retirement funds in ways we could never do on our own. FNPF is securing our future, our dreams, and that's why we know we're all in good hands. FNPF, securing your future.
Saya mbaki 5.5 kadiwa turangan ni nambau diwa natikin nombor itu na siya na turang hotel hindi kita kami pension yung balata na marama na tinang ko kwenta lang ay pension ando na ipakasal sa butok ko biyaw may nanong manasingan na ko pagkatingon siya na utimay na ilap siya na utimay na nakadak yung bumbita tuyen doon na ilaw, meron yung pension kina may pagkatik ko ay pension tikong ko sa utiros nga bulkan lima na yung baki si pension tingang ko.
Kanyang bulabinaka, eu nevang o Sariana, ger na tambua o nimburi. Au sa impaki o sang hulu, wa daka banga sinibuli. Au sa umusugat tunan ng wila wa na FNPF na nga no sa baka dengu kina. Dengu na tilka diwa sang hulu kaono. May nang momenta ay sa impaki ro sang hulu kalima na nung turat yung kanila bumusuki na FNPF. Kilabiyaw na kinabinaka, wa ambula tumay kinenando na nga unang balab. Hindi na nga sabi sa umi bakabula, nangaw nanggo sa tulit sa rautiuti ko na ilaway ang isama yung batur sa ngabulo sama lumulumo ng bula sa angkase Sara sa rin nakaurawata sa bakani warin dotal na ba so sinila po mga kay may biyaw ngwa na FNPF sa ngaw sa ambulat ko kine nangaw nanggo
santo na may bukaliw na ilaway pension au tortito sama itu yang nakor garabito na itabi ni Bonua katakan ko na sulya sana pinakatinali mo sa bulan dol ana mo sabi rukin na pension na lotu na sulya mga misnari ana mo sa bebu kina na pension
nakakiri sa nga erawat tangang nila ko ni president fa
where you
Buli
enter,
kina na
and
kulango,
also on your
na
left,
himbe,
there's also
na
an
nito
exit behind
kana,
you.
na kakele
In case of an
makapupande.
emergency, please use
Na
the exit
fridge,
closest to you.
nongo endo na nongo deep.
Mobile
O wa
phones,
buli kina na
we
provident
kindly
fa, nila
request
buni
you to put your
provident fa.
mobile phones on silent
O sa sinraw
or
tato nila
vibrate
bukya
mode.
bakambe ka wala nila buni provident.
We are also streaming this forum live on Facebook and YouTube, so please be mindful if you are moving around. Also present are our friends from Fiji Association of the Deaf. They are here as our translators for those who may be here or watching and are hearing impaired. Please ensure that you have registered and you have a forum pack with you. The pack contains critical information and materials that will guide you in today's forum. The pack also includes a summary of our annual report 2022. There is also a feedback form in your packs. Please complete the form and hand it to one of our staff at the end of the forum. We will also give you a light meal pack as a gesture of appreciation for attending today's forum. Thank you. To formally begin our forum this morning, we will begin with a word of prayer. Let's pray. Our Father in heaven, creator of all things, we come before you this morning in prayer to thank you. Thank you for the gift of life. We also thank you for bringing us safely to Labasa this morning to meet and discuss important matters related to the fund. We kindly ask you, Almighty, to please give us a listening ear, help us to participate, to understand, and take part in our discussions this morning. We commit our program to you, Father, and please kindly ask that you please bless our efforts. We ask that you please forgive us for our shortcomings. We offer this prayer in the name of your Son, our King and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you. If you are attending this forum for the first time, this event takes place annually, where by law FNPF must conduct a forum with its members and present its financials for the previous financial year. We will also discuss key activities and future plans with you, our members, pensioners, and employers. This is an important event because it gives you the opportunity to raise your concerns and have them discussed with our executives. So we hope that you will make the most of today's forum and ensure that all your issues are addressed and all your questions are answered. At the end of the session, you can also access any FNPF service. Our staff are here to assist you with any queries that you may have. The program this morning will consist of our Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Viliame Vondonevalu, presenting to you our highlights and financials for the financial year 2022. Then we will have a question and answer session before we end today's forum. If you need anything, please let any of our staff know. They are here to assist you. Ladies and gentlemen, without further delay, I will now invite our Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Viliame Vondonevalu, for his official presentation. Inaka.
Bulasia, good morning to you all, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome also to viewers tuning in our live stream coverage today. God is good and is good all the time. We must always thank God Almighty for His grace and mercy in our lives, enabling us to be here this morning. We are always enjoy coming to Labasa. The turnout and feedback have always been productive. We have completed our forum in Suva and in the West. We were in Sabsabu yesterday, and we'll move on to the Garden Island in Tawioni next week. We always look forward to our annual forum, with this year being the 10th year that we have been conducting the Members' Forum. Just as we have been holding productive discussion with our stakeholders last week, I trust that today will be no different. We will take you through our current financial performance, our key activities, then discuss some of our challenges. Our agenda is as shown on the slide. Most of what I will share today is in the annual report summary that's available in your forum pack. At the conclusion of my presentation, then we will open a question and answer session. The past year have been challenging for our members and business alike. We have had to adjust to the pandemic that has altered our lifestyle and our routine. At the fund, we were most happy with our response. Despite enduring one of the most difficult periods this nation has ever faced, the FNPF was continued to provide assistance as best as it could have. The pandemic had demonstrated that nothing is ever certain and that our model and operation design must be more adaptable and sustainable. Although the operating climate continued to gradually improve, the FNPF team did its best to step up and deliver. Our financials. As of 30th of June 2022, the fund has a total asset of 8.7 billion, an increase of 500 million or 6% growth from prior year. Our net income was 650.8 million, an increase of 107.3 million or 19.7% growth from prior year. As a result, in the cut in contribution rate from 18 to 10%, collection was low at 395.2 million. The contribution rate was increased to 14% as of 1st January 2023. We are now pursuing government to have the contribution rate fully restored as soon as practical. As of 30th June 2022, members' fund in total amounted to 6.7 billion, an increase of 100 million from prior year, or a growth of 2%, despite the negative net withdrawal for 2022. Net income available for net allocation. Our net increase in net asset, or the amount available for distribution during the year, was 600.5 million. That's an increase of 104 million, or 21% increase from 2021. We were able to declare a 6% interest in 2022, enabling the fund to distribute 330 million to over 392,000 members' account. The growth in interest related to the high return achieved for investment that have been strategically managed by the fund. In the past 5 years, the fund has credited over 1.6 billion into members' account. FNPF reserve. Our solvency and interest reserve is what protect the fund. The solvent reserve is mandated by law. That's under Section 32 of the Act, and the total value of asset must be 110 of the value of our liability. Investment reserve also is mandated under Section 32 that state that the actuary may recommend a higher percentage. Our return on investment. Despite the significant COVID payout during the year, FNPF was still able to achieve growth in the investment portfolio. The fund posted a 7.4% return on investment in 2022. Predominant component of investment return is the government bond interest. Bond rate decreased during the year, impacting current long-term yield, as well as a result of high liquidity in the financial system. Income and equity investment also has been positive and began to normalize as economy have picked up in post-COVID. Our investment portfolio currently stands at 8.6 billion as of 30th June 2022. Investment portfolio grew by 4.46 billion in 2014 to 8.6 billion in 2022. That's a growth of 93% over that period. The diversification of investment portfolio is the most successful strategy, investment in defense and growth assets. In addition to COVID-19 unemployment assistance, the fund continued to assist members under normal withdrawal programs. Including unemployment, FNPF paid out a total of 467 million during the year, a decrease of 33.8 million from 2021. This can be attributed to the normalization of unemployment withdrawal as members return to work. We have continued to pay out members as and when they need, and most importantly, if they qualify under our requirement. The fund is administratively and financially capable to meet our commitment to our member. At the end of June 2022, the fund had a total of 593 members. Breakdown in compulsory and voluntary by gender, as you've seen on the screen. Compulsory members is 214,536. Voluntary member is 12,242. The male gender slightly has membership advantage over our female. On our pension, our total number of pensioners was 7,922 at the end of financial year 2022, with 52% being our male pensioners. Our pension take-up rate last year was 4.9%, compared to 3.7% in 2021. A glance on our employers, a total number of active employers was 7,732 in 2022. These are employers that have paid their employee contribution at least once during the financial year. Our major activity for 2022. I will now go through our key achievement for 2022. Supporting our members' COVID response, for the first 6 months of 2022, we continue to provide COVID unemployment assistance to those members that were still affected. When the COVID assistance was introduced in 2022, 220 million have been paid from members' account and 186 million topped up by government. Total payment to date is 406 million. 3 initiatives were also rolled out by the fund to assist members who continue to face financial hardship as a result of COVID. These were the home loan mortgage assistance, the low account balance full withdrawal, and also the micro business assistance. Our enabler, sustaining our digital focus was always a key activity of 2022. We enhanced the employer portal called Employer 2 and tried this with selected employer. The My FNPF app was also enhanced to accept submission of funeral and advice of death application. In collaboration with BSP, the fund implemented the Inter-Payment Gateway, IPG, into the My FNPF app. These allow members to perform end-to-end digital transaction, as well as allowing payment of contribution and registration of new voluntary member. The fund back office processes continue to be automated in relation to the administration of members, pensioners, and employer. Our investment. Our key investment activity in 2022 were the completion of the Sheraton Fiji Resort refurbishment. This was a key milestone, as was the opening of the resort. Sheraton Fiji Resort is now set the standard on Danarau, offering superior service and product. Westin Resort is currently closed and undergoing renovation. We have completed the mock-up room for Westin, and the appointment of the contractor will be completed soon. We've also opened the Nandi My FNPF Retail Center to the public. The new FNPF office should be operating out of the FNPF center in the coming financial year. Acquisition of 30.02 shares of Fiji Airways was a strategic investment for our national strategic asset, totaling 93.1 million. Ba Hospital, which is managed by Aspen Medical, also opened for operation, and we are delighted to see that it's well underway in performing open heart surgery. I would like to elaborate more on Fiji Airways and Ba Hospital investment. I know these are topics of interest. There is also a case study in your annual report summary on page 16 on the Fiji Airways share acquisition. With FNPF being a long-term financial investor, this was an opportunity not to be missed. This investment adds value not only to the fund hotel portfolio, but also synergies and enable potential investment opportunities such as medical, aged care tourism, sports tourism, and commercial agriculture. This investment was considered on its own merit, and I can assure you that we have enabled engaged professional, credible, reputable expert to undertake independent due diligence for the fund. Members will be able to earn dividend income from the growth in the value of FNPF over time. This is in addition to interest income for the existing loan. To date, Fiji Airways have repaid 116.3 million in loan principal and also 99.7 million in loan interest. As of 30th June 2022, total loan balance held with Fiji Airways was 206.5 million. Our relationship with Fiji Airways goes back to 2012. It was not a new investment for us. Fiji Airways is a strategic asset for Fiji, and having a strong airline is crucial for our tourism industry and is an enabler to other investment opportunity, which I've stated before. Our investment in the healthcare Fiji, we are excited about this venture. It is contribute towards an improvement in health service and facility for our members and for the general public alike. It is also an enabler to other investment opportunity. Members are also going to benefit through dividend income from this project. There was a delay in the provision of some of the service due to the impact of the pandemic on the hospital supplies and resources. We are now looking into the construction of a cardio unit in Lautoka as scope 1 of the project. To date, FNPF have invested 20.8 million to fund the operation of Healthcare Fiji, Ba and Lautoka Hospital. Way forward, now to our way forward or future plan. Understanding our challenges with a strategic theme of resetting, repositioning the fund to beyond. We still have many challenges ahead, both operational and financial. We need to clarify our role and find the balance between members' expectation and our core purpose in securing your future for a meaningful retirement. We need to address the low members' balance. We also need to ensure our withdrawal products are relevant. The fund needs to offer a variety of retirement products to suit different segments of our members. We must ensure the sustainability of our retirement product and also diversify our investment in the local market and also internationally. Reaffirming our purpose. What is our way forward? We are striving to affirm our purpose. We would improve on how we collect contribution and also investment. So you're probably familiar that we've started with the SMS of any contribution that actually hit your account and also withdraw. We want to be the best provider of financial advisor. We want to champion the preservation policy that will help you save for a meaningful retirement. We will strive to develop and offer relevant product during your working life and in retirement, we protect your fund. FNPF will always ensure that members will share what the fund gains. For some super fund around the world, it is a member who would bear the risk and the impact of losses is felt in their balance being reduced. For FNPF, we are not allowed to do this, and that is an added protection to our member. Members' fund cannot be used as a collateral as per Section 94 of the FNPF Act. We are here to protect your fund. By law, FNPF must comply with the legislative solvency requirement, which means the total value of our asset must be at least 110% of the value of our liability. That's spelled out in Section 32. We also have other sound management mechanism in place, such as ongoing monthly solvency monitoring that is done by an independent actuary, an annual actuarial solvency review, also an independent valuation of investment measure at fair value that is done during external audit, the application of international accounting standard. Our current reserve is at 1.7 billion. As I've stated earlier, ultimately we would strive to ensure your retirement security. It has not been an easy year for all of us, but definitely we have come out better for the experience, and therefore have become better in the process. Your FNPF is safe and secure. Let no one convince you otherwise. Thank you once again for your attendance this morning, and on behalf of the board, management, and staff, thank you for continued trust in us to manage your retirement fund. I urge you to please always reach out to FNPF if you need anything clarified. It would only be your best interest rather than to rely on unreliable sources. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO. We will now move into our question and answer session. We kindly ask if the panelists could please take their seats. Thank you. I'll just introduce our panelists this morning. To my left, furthest to my left is our Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Pravinesh Singh. In the middle is our General Manager Member Services, Mr. Alipati Wangairawai, and our CEO, Mr. Vilame Wondonaivalu is our panel this morning. Before we begin with the questions, there's a few protocols we'd like us to all follow. First of all, if you have a question, please raise your hand, and we'll have one of the gentlemen bring you a mic. When you receive the mic, please state your name, whether you are a member, employer, or a pensioner, and then you may ask your question. You can also ask your question in vernacular, and we kindly request that there be no shouting. If you are unable to ask a question, or if you're not comfortable asking a question, you can also text your question to number 9968163. You can text your question to number 9968163, and we will forward your question to the panel. Thank you. Now the floor is open for questions. Yes, thank you. The lady in the front.
My name is Selina Liwa. I've been a pensioner for 20 years, since I turned 55. There's a question that I have a couple of questions. The first one will our pension go back to the initial amount that we had signed before the change in 2012? That is my first question.
Thank you for the question. The answer is, I don't know. Because that is something beyond us. We did the reform for a reason, and year on year we come back to the pensioners and we've explained why we had to do the pension reform. And we've explained to you as well. And I understand that some of the pensioners had lost some of the monthly pensions, and there was a reduction in the pension. But it had to be done. Now with the new government in place, we understand from the line minister, and when the elections were ongoing through the manifestos, that there would be some changes done. So those changes would definitely need to be done if the minister and the government wants, and that has to be done through legislative review. That is something beyond us. So we will have to wait. There are some talks, and we will come back if there are changes to the pensions.
Actually, why I asked that question, because we signed the document for our old pension money. And then suddenly in 2012, they dropped it down to 50%. So that's why I asked that question.
Yes, I'm fully aware of what had happened back in 2012. If you could see the slide and the diagram on the left, which depicts what was the state of the pension business back then. It was all part of the one fund, and we did some reforms in those years. We separated the pension business from the member fund. What was happening in the pension business was we were receiving less income from the pensioners, and we were paying more in monthly annuities. So it was not sustainable. So a simple analogy would be, if you are receiving $100 in wages every week, and if your expense is $150, so you're in a problem. So the World Bank, ILO, IFC, all the experts, they did studies on FNPF pension, which was introduced in 1975, and with a conversion rate of 25%, which was reduced to 15% prior to the reform, which was still very generous by way of international comparison, and even for FNPF to sustain those rates, we were not able to sustain it. Had we continued with the same rates, FNPF would have gone broke by 2056. So your savings, your children's savings would not be there anymore. So what was the best thing to do? We had to reform. We have to make sure the rates that have been paid out to the pensioners were sustainable and which we could pay until the end of life of the pensioner. So that's why the reduction in pension. Even the 8.7%, our actuary is telling us now, it's not sustainable. But we are still carrying through because that's the promise we've made to you. If I may, Madam, give a bit of a background, the 25% conversion rate or the annuity factor that was introduced in 1975 when the pension was introduced, you could get all your money back in 4 years. So at 25%, if you do the math, if you are 55 in 75, by age 59, you get all your money back. But looking at the way the health systems have improved, people have lived beyond 59. So if a person lived until 69, that means FNPF from its own funds, from member funds, had to pay this pensioner for another 10 years. That means for 2.5 cycles more. That's not fair on the member fund because we continued to subsidize from the member fund. It was just one pot back then. So we had to pay the pensioners from the same pot. The money that was coming in from the employees and employer contributions, we used to take some and pay the pensioners because of that promise. But we couldn't continue for a long term. If you remember, some of you pensioners, we had the pension buffer fund, which meant 2 cents of your employee contribution back then was going into this pension buffer fund. That, according to the studies, and I've seen it literally myself being the former CFO of FNPF, that pension buffer fund went to zero in year 2016, as was forecast by World Bank. And had we continued on the same rates, by year 2056, the $8.7 billion fund that CEO alluded to would have gone broke. That means there would have been nothing left for you and I and your children who are still members of the fund. So it was very important to make those changes, to separate the business. We separated the assets of the now retirement income fund, which is the pension business. We put in a high yielding bonds in the retirement income fund so that that could pay you your annuities for end of life. That was the promise we gave you. If there is any further reductions, that will not impact the current pensioners, it may impact the future pensioners. Because we have, and prior to 2012, there were no actuary in-house. Actuaries are people who look at the solvency of a retirement fund or a bank. They tell you, do you have sufficient assets to pay for your long-term liabilities? So we got an actuary in 2012 who said those rates. This is a former New Zealand government actuary, Mr. Jeff Freshbrook, and now we have a new actuary who is the former Australian government actuary. So according to the expertise, they do the studies, they do the asset liability management, they see if FNPF has got 8.7 billion of assets and 6.6 billion of member funds, then there is a 10% additional solvency. So when you contribute $1 to FNPF through your wages, FNPF by law is required to put an additional 10 cents. So that's the safeguard. So in the event there is some erosion or there is some impairment, if some of you remember, in 2009 we had to write down 326 million from our investment in Intercon, which is the $100 resort. That was a huge chunk. If I recall correctly, that meant somewhere close to 5% of our total investment portfolio was impaired. So these things are for those risks. Otherwise, we would have, if we could sustain it, we would have paid you your normal contribution.
I said, looking at this, our change in 2012, I can see we lent money to Fiji Airways, to the airline. So instead of giving it to us, it was lended to the airline.
I'll answer that.
That's what my query is on that.
So we have 3 funds, as Ku has mentioned. We run a fund for prior to retirement, which is before 55. I mentioned a total of fund of 8.6 billion. So out of that, 8.2 is for members fund prior to retirement. 8.2 billion. That's a chunk of the total asset. For retirement, it's about 360 million. That's for retirement fund only. And how we invested money? We never invested money for any hotel or Fiji Airways. We invested money only with bond. Bond, which means has a provost return. Because we guarantee a rate to the member, we have to invest it on investment that guarantee a return also. So that's how we invest. We haven't invested your fund with Fiji Airways.
Thank you. My second question. If you were a pensioner and die, like for example me, are we entitled to some kind of special death benefits like normal members getting $8,500 when they die? That's why, and like our fellow government social welfare pensioners, they get about 3,000 below the 70 years. And then for us, we get 1,000, which we are not entitled for any government money. So what do we get from the Fiji National Provident Fund? Because we Fiji National Provident Fund pensioners are not entitled to joint government or social welfare pension. Why? Because FNPF is our money, it's not the government money. That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. I think the simple answer to that question is the special death benefit payments doesn't apply to pensioners. But currently we are reviewing our special death benefit scheme, whereby our actuary has asked us to sort of review, where he has put in a recommendations looking at the rates, special death benefit rates, and a more fair scheme. That's currently under review at the moment. If there's any changes, then we'll come back to you. But also just to highlight the question that you asked on the pensioners, just to sort of add on to what Ku has mentioned, when we did the reforms, we said, okay, as the scheme ran on the previous scheme, as it was in terms of the higher rates, that was unsustainable. So what is a fairer option that for us that we were going to do? So what we did was said, okay, we would give every pensioner the option, and all of you would have received that option. We had given all pensioners the option whether we were going to refund them fully. If they were to exit the fund, we would give them the original sum that they had put in. So for example, if someone were paid $100,000 and we've overpaid him, and we would have paid him $160,000 in terms of the monthly payments we would have paid him, we said, okay, if he or she wanted to exit, we will give them the original sum that they put in. So we paid them the $100,000, which was in addition to the $160,000 that was also paid. So we did that from a equitable perspective, so that there was not, the choice was theirs. If they came in onto the new scheme, then they would come in under the new rates. And when we did that in 2012, the pensioners, about 60% of the pensioners, over 6,875 pensioners came back on the new rates, because given the existing rates that we were offering in terms of the new one, there was no other, that was still the best option to take. So from our perspective, there was nothing more fairer than giving the option to the pensioner by paying them the original sum they invested, even though they'd earned 2.5 times more. In some cases, members we'd paid them 5 times over what they'd initially put in. So from our perspective, we believe that when we did that, when we gave that option to the pensioners, it was for them to make the decision. If they wanted to exit, then we would have given them their original amount that they put into the fund. And we believe that that was nothing that could be more fairer than that.
Hello. Mine is not a question. I'd just like to thank you for this beautiful booklet, which outlines the fund's money and all the investments done. And looking at it, it is really, they've done a beautiful work in investing the money and getting profit for the funds. And looking at it at the income, they made 650.8 million compared to the previous years of 543.5 million. Now, my request is, can we members benefit from this dividend? Even some part of it, from the 6.5.8 million, can we pensioners get something of it? Say just like a bonus every year for Christmas gift for us, or Diwali present or something like that. Can we get something? Like here we present all these things. For us, for me, what I use for me, reading all these beautiful words with all the figures in it, which I don't benefit a cent from it. This is my question. This is another question. My request is, can the board think about us as we members? Because some of us here, next year won't see them. They won't be around here next year, if you come again next year. And we got a short life, and it's a hard time for us at the moment. People are struggling. And that's a request, if the board can look into it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, the forums like this, we take feedback, we take it back to our board. A number of changes have happened as a result of member feedback. And I think during COVID, we made a payment to the pensioners, and we will take it back to our board for their consideration. Yeah. Naka.
My name is Ngasio Kulinwai. I'm a member of the FNPF. Just a few questions to ask. As you just mentioned, that our FNPF money is safe. So, how will you ensure us, members, that our money are really safe? How will you ensure us? Because for the last 16 years, now we've been seeing what's happening to our government. You know what I'm saying right now. How will you ensure that our money are really safe? The second question to the gentleman here. For all the invest you did, was there any consultation with the members of the FNPF? And that question, are we going to be benefit for this invest money? Who will be going to benefit for it? Us members or who? That's the question. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think the first question is, FNPF has got its own investment policy statement, which is used to invest in various portfolios, whether it be in government bonds or in properties or give out commercial loans, and we have various criteria to follow before we make those investments. And those investments include the likes of investment in Fiji Airways, or acquiring properties, or Narandola property, Bomi property. There are various properties, and that's present on our balance sheet today. And CEO said, total value of our asset is about 8.7 billion. So, sir, your number one question is FNPF safe, or are your investment or are your savings in FNPF safe? So, more or less, the question is, what you want that comfort, so that there is money when you retire or when your children retire. So, as a safeguard, when any of you come to FNPF to make a withdrawal, any of you, whether it be a partial withdrawal or a retirement withdrawal, full lump sum, irrespective of the amount, has there been any instance where FNPF has said, please come back next week, we don't have money now? During COVID, we paid 220 million to the members from their savings to assist them for unemployment assistance. But tell me, when there are instances when we invest in government bonds and the rumors are, is FNPF a government bank? It's not. We have to invest in various properties, in bonds, in hotels, so that there is a steady stream of income. Had it been Australia, New Zealand, Europe, America, there are super funds that allow you to make the choice. You can decide if you want to invest in a property, or if you want to invest in a loan portfolio, if you want to invest in a bond. FNPF doesn't do that. FNPF board makes the decision. That is why you will never see your principal value reduced. If you remember one of the last slides, CEO said that we cannot give you negative interest. That basically means your savings in FNPF will earn interest. At no point in time can we reduce the saving and say, okay, this had been a bad year, even during COVID when our hotels were closed, or in 2009 when we did the major write-down of our investment in Natandola, FNPF took the hit on itself. The reserves reduced, but we did not touch member balances. So that's why the safeguard is, even if you have 50,000 or 100,000 in FNPF and you are retiring and you come and tell FNPF, I want all my money back, FNPF pays you. So where does the money come from? If we've given everything away to government, then we won't be able to pay you. We'll say, okay, when the government pays us back, we'll pay you. Many a times when we owe money to somebody, we go to them, they'll say, I owe it to somebody else. When that fella pays, I'll pay you back. That's not the case, because FNPF on a daily basis processes withdrawals to members who are retiring, to members who come to FNPF to seek education assistance, for medical assistance, for housing assistance, for funeral assistance. Every day we don't turn any of our member back. That's the most important safeguard that we can give you. Many people look forward to their retirement. When they turn 54, they start counting when I will turn 55 so that I can go to FNPF and claim my retirement funds. If on the 55th birthday, if you come to us and we tell you, sorry sir, our payment is coming next week, how would you feel? So all those things at FNPF are properly considered. We have to keep money in the bank so that we can pay you when you retire, when you come for a partial withdrawal. But we have to do these investments. It's important. Otherwise, we won't be able to pay you interest on 30th June. We need to understand that concept, because FNPF is not like a bank. If you put a term deposit in a bank, some of you have it, you have seen that the rates have been reduced to 1%, 0.76%, and the bank, if you've got a larger balance, will say, we can't give you interest on this. We are going to reduce the interest on the term deposit. And on the savings account, those are on-call accounts, just the money you receive from your wages goes into the banks, that hardly earns anything, any interest. But FNPF, despite COVID in 2020, 2021, 2022, retained interest at 5%, 5% and 6% respectively. How do you expect us to continue to pay you such generous returns? Because we have to continue to invest. We go offshore, we have got challenges. Reserve Bank, our regulator, if tomorrow they say bring all the money back, we have to bring it back. We've got investment in BSP, we've got investment in Emerging Asia Fund, we've got investments with our fund managers. But those are yielding higher returns. So a mix of that, a diversified portfolio, through prudent investment and wise decisions that the management and the board does, we are able to get mixed returns. Not everything earns a 6%. The bonds, it's about 4.9%. It continues to come down. Properties, some of them are empty, FNPF properties. Despite that, FNPF still makes efforts to make sure you get the maximum return. So that is the promise we can give you.
Just to add to what has already been mentioned, you refer to government. I think all government has borrowed from FNPF. From the Alliance government right to this government. All of them borrowed from FNPF. That's not unique to any government. So we currently hold around 40% of total portfolio of investment with government. Previously, if you go back about 10 years or 15 years ago, we hold around 60% that government borrow from FNPF. We have reduced that exposure down from 60 to 40, which means we have diversified away and also other source of investment. That is a reason we've done well in 2022. That was quite a tough period of operation, as I mentioned before. That's based on our diversified investment. So when hotel was down, our telecommunication and banking were doing well. So they actually carry and pull up our return for members. So diversification is one. We are the biggest financial institution in the country. We hold funds with all banks. You talk about ANZ, you talk about Westpac, you talk about Westby, all our funds are there. Multi-millions of dollars we hold with them. The ability to operate is also based on FNPF. So when we mention that we are safe, we mean it. And apart from that, all our check and balances are there. We do actuary review, which is an independent party from us. We don't control what he says, he does his own. We have external audit by all the 4 global operators. You name PwC, you name KPMG, they've done the audit, independent from FNPF. So when we put this number that we're putting up, that's an audited number, certified, operate under an accounting standard internationally. So that's our guarantee. Apart from that, we also hold reserve. I said that our fund was safe because we have a reserve account. So every money, I mentioned about 600 million, but we only distribute 370 million to members. Part of the money is kept aside, which is a reserve fund. It's meant for a purpose. That's required by a law under solvency requirement that we kept aside for rainy day. If things happen, that will be the cover.
Just put that slide back on. I think one of the questions that was alluded to was the concern for the government borrowing. If you see the slide, that's the process that is used when FNPF, when government wants to borrow. Okay. So what happens? The Reserve Bank is the register of government debt. So the Ministry of Finance the Ministry of Economy will go to the RBF and say, look, we want to borrow this money. So the RBF, on behalf of the government, will advertise in the papers. Those that have got spare monies in the market who want to tender for the loans, we want short-term bonds or we want long-term papers, which is from as short as 30, 60, 90 days to as long as 10 to 15 years. So that's the process. So when that's advertised, FNPF, including all the insurance companies and everyone, we tender for it. If we see that our cash flow, people have said, our finance, we've got a surplus of about 200-300 million that we want to invest, we will then tender for it. We assess whether we've got spare cash that we want to park it for how long we want to park it, and then we will then apply or bid for that at a price that we want. From the government side, they would want a less interest. Less interest on them means less burden on us as taxpayers. From our side as an investor, FNPF, we want the best return. The higher the return that we have, the higher the interest that we pay. So when we look at that, RBF will then independently assess and then we'll advise it whether we are successful or not. And our success rate for this have not been, sometimes when we bid, we don't get anything. So it's a fully independent process in terms of that the government goes through. And for us at FNPF, that's an entirely independent process that's assessed by our own internal investment team, and then we are guided by what's called our investment portfolio statement, which sets the parameters as to what we can invest in. So there's a safety aspect of it too. So I thought we'd just mention that in order to tell you about the process that we go through in terms of government borrowing. And like the CEO has alluded, all governments have borrowed from FNPF, but for us, we've seen that as a risk, and we are reducing our exposure to government from 60%. Currently, it is now 40%. So That's one of the safety aspects of it. I think another question that's not been answered was, why aren't members consulted? You know, this 429,000 members previously, we've now just reduced, cleaned up our member database to 398,000. No, we can't go and whenever we want to make an investment decision to go and ask all of the 398,000 members, do we want to go in this? It doesn't work that way. In terms of the Act, board members are chosen. After the review, when we reviewed the board membership, board members are now chosen to become board at the FNPF by virtue of their skill set. And that goes through an independent test that the RBF does. Whether the person that wants to come in has the necessary skill set and the professional expertise to do that. You just don't come in there by virtue of the fact that you are an office holder of some. You need to have investment skill, engineering skills, accounting skills. That's the part of the reform, the requirements for changes to the board was that it's no longer affiliation based, but it's now competency based. And the RBF does that. So government is expressing its interest for those people that want to serve on the boards. If any of you are interested in serving on the FNPF board, by all means, please put in your application, and then the RBF will go through the relevant processes to determine whether you have the relevant competencies to do that. So I thought I'd just answer that for your clarification.
Sir, firstly, I would like to thank our CEO for very informative deliberation on our finance. Thank you very much, sir. And I'd like to thank the CEO and all the administrative people in the FNPF for looking after our FNPF so well and helping it grow during very difficult times. Thank you very much, sir. And I would like to thank the board for their foresight in investing in very important income so that our FNPF is there always for us. My question is, or it's a suggestion too, sir, I have seen FNPF, I think it owns about 60% of the economy in Fiji. And a lot of investments have taken place in Western, Suva, and recently we have seen medical in Lautoka, open heart surgery, which is a very good thing. We are proud of that. We are thankful for the board. Sir, my suggestion is, FNPF has contributed, invested in so many properties in Viti Levu. We would very much want to see some investments done in Vanua Levu, because we are part of the economy of Fiji, probably the second largest island in Fiji. Recently we have seen 20 million Lautoka Hospital and Ba Hospital. They are too close. There should have been one major investment done to a hospital in Labasa, or even one good sporting facility. We haven't got one good sporting facility, or in any other investments like tourism. So in near future, my suggestion is we would like to see some major investments in Vanua Levu as well, because we only have got one FNPF building which is painted probably every year, and I think there's one in Sabu or not. So a very humble request, as far as tourism is concerned, medical sports, would like to see some investments. And we are very thankful for the board for your small business enterprises, which our people also benefit in Vanua Levu. So thank you very much, sir.
Just to answer the question on investment in the north. In fact, we're coming. We've expressed interest on FSC land here in Labasa. So assuming we'll get that piece of land, that will be the catalyst going forward. And look north policy by government takes well with our interest. And that's since government expressed the look north, and we intend to be here also. So it's coming.
Thank you. We have another question on this side.
Thank you. My name is Eugene Williams. I'm a member. of FNPF. It makes me proud to see a couple of my former workmates sitting on the panel today, and it really gives me great pleasure also to be part of this forum. Thank you very much. My question is about 34 years ago when I first joined the workforce. Our rate of return at FNPF was, I would say, quite high, at 10%. And I believe other financial institutes were also offering quite high rates of return at that particular time. Given through the years and the amount of investment that FNPF has made around the world, in Fiji as well, and the rate of return dropping down to 6%, is there a possibility that the board and management could review the rate of return to the members? Thank you very much.
One is what we provide to members is actually what we get from the investment income line. And one thing that's quite important is the reserving policy, as I mentioned before. So we've now got about 1.7 billion. So in other words, that's undistributed profit. So we don't actually pay to members, but set it aside according to law. The law requires us to do that we reserve that fund for rainy days. If such things happen, then that is the cover, just like any other business. So that's the most, the difference between us with other super fund. The other super fund, Australia and New Zealand, they do pass through. So whatever they gain in the market, they pass on to members. If we have done that, if the law allows us, that 1.7 billion would have gone to all members as interest income. But we do guarantee on principle, like no other provident fund in overseas. That's why the reserve policy kicks in, that we have to set aside income for that purpose. That we can never actually declare a negative interest, so indirectly we cannot pass through loss position to members.
Just to add to that in terms of the return, just by comparison, I've just looked at Fiji Times today. When I look at the 1-year term deposit rates, the highest institution that's paying a 1-year rate, the highest rate is 2.5%. 2.5% compared to what FNPF pays you, which is 6.5%. And over the years, our average interest is about 6.5%. So, no, there's no better way to save than to put in FNPF. We pay you a very good return. Huh?
Thank you. We have a question in the front.
Bulavinaka. My name is Samuela. That's my sign name. It's been a while. Just one question. How can FNPF ensure that benefits for all members is the same, including people with disability?
Thank you for that question. The FNPF doesn't discriminate against any membership. All members are treated equally, be they compulsory members, be they voluntary members, or be they disabled or visually impaired. They earn the same amount of interest and they get the same benefits.
Thank you. We have another gentleman in the middle.
My name is Rajendra Kumar. I am a pensioner. My question is, under FNPF's voluntary scheme, voluntary members are not receiving death benefits like the permanent members.
All irrespective of whether you're a compulsory member or a voluntary member, you will receive SDB. This scheme is available to both modes of members. Because you have a particular case, sir?
Because when I went to FNPF Labasa, they told me that you cannot receive it because you are a voluntary member.
Oh, that's not correct. Are you a voluntary member?
Yes.
But you have not taken your money out, right? You haven't taken any retirement yet?
No, I took the money, then I deposited again.
Yes. In that case, you've already exercised your retirement option and you've rejoined one. So the SDB scheme are for working members. It's a safeguard against, premature demise whilst you are still working. So once you've taken your money out, SDB is no longer offered to those members.
Right, thank you.
My name is Jose Awangavakaviti. I'm from Tebiuni. I started to hold a grudge against FNPF in 2020. I'm sorry. This is after Cyclone Yasa destroyed our home. We rebuilt our house in 2018 after it was burned down in 2017. In 2020, when Yasa struck the Northern Division, my house was destroyed. When the FNPF officers visited my home, I did apply, and later they came and said that I was not eligible because there was no money in my general account. I've always used my general account and my wife for her education. I only worked from 2008 to 2014 in the education system as a teacher. I left work in 2015, reinstated in 2018. I only worked as a term. We moved from Tebiuni to Lekutu Secondary to Marriage Brother. Then I moved back to Tebiuni as I no longer have an interest in teaching. So I decided to work as a farmer, to be self-employed. My question is, I do not have enough funds in the FNPF. I think it's less than 14,000. Since then, I've been trying, I've been asking, I will not work again because of the indisciplinary case that I was involved in 2014. And that still owns me till 2018 when I worked at Marriage Brother High School. I only have a request. Now we moved to Labasa. I've asked my wife to move to Labasa to further her education. I think I only paid for 2 units for postgraduate. I want her to continue her postgraduate studies and to complete her master's. My only question is it possible for me to make a full withdrawal from FNPF to assist me in my, I'm only a semi-commercial. I cannot go commercial farming. I was taken by the Ministry of Education to Korea, came back, used that knowledge, but still I do not have the capital, working capital, to pay for the machineries, to pay for the labors. My wife's income is just less. It's not enough for the 7 of us. I'm only asking if it's possible. As a member, we are struggling right now financially. If it's possible to assist us with our farm, in investing that 14,000 to my farm to become a commercial farmer. Thank you.
Vinaka, if you can just put the slide, the reservation slide. In FNPF, every member is treated equally. Whilst we understand the struggles that you have gone through, the law and the policies apply equally to each member. So in terms of the FNPF, there's no in-betweens. It's as clear as black and white. 70% when we did the preservation policy is preserved for retirement. 30% is your general account, which is what you can get for medical, education, housing, funeral, and unemployment. The only time that you are allowed to dip into your preserved account is when you are building your house or land for the first time. Then we allow you to take 30% of the 70%, which works out to 21%. That 21% plus the 30% in your general account equates to 51%. Those of you that want to come and purchase a land or house, that's the housing eligibility statement that we use. But otherwise, for all members, and no one has been given to access anything apart from what's in the general account, you are confined to your general account. Because when we looked at our mandate, the FNPF, when it was set up in 1966, it was basically a retirement fund. It's to help you. So this is why the bulk of your money, which is 70%, is preserved for that purpose. Our purpose has not changed. Our mandate has not changed. The bulk of your money has to be preserved for retirement. So the answer to your question, unless there's a law change, we can't do that. You are reserved to your 30%. And you are not the first member that have come to ask us. All the members that have asked us, they have been given the same answer. It's in the interest of fairness to each member. As the law currently stands and as the policy currently stands, you cannot have access to your preserved account to complete your education, because you are limited to what is in your general account. And we haven't done it for any member in the interest of fairness to all members.
Thank you. The floor is still open for questions.
Bula, Tawake Kolinisau, I'm a member. Just to add on to my friend's question, what options are available with FNPF to assist him financially?
There's no other options available. Those of us sitting here don't have that discretion. We're restricted by law to do that, and that's equally applicable to each member. With FNPF, when we did the reforms, we are driven by the fact that we need to be fair to each member. We can't do it to one and then not do it to the other. That's why the policies and the act is equally applied to each member.
Thank you. We have a question in the front.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. My name is John Hewson. Some years back, I bought a home through my eligibility funds through FNPF. The funds were then transferred to a trust fund through a prominent lawyer here in Labasa. Unfortunately, before any paperwork was being done or transfer documents, the funds were being paid out to the seller. Until to date, I'm still running around to try and acquire that property. Can FNPF help in any way? Thank you.
We will speak to you after this and take your details.
Thank you. We'll go to our online question. Our member is asking, upon retirement, instead of joining pension or whole lump sum withdrawal, can we keep our money in FNPF for interest, safety, and help FNPF gain income, and hence, if we can make one withdrawal per year?
Thank you, Timothy. No, that options already exists now at the fund. The FNPF, if you can now retire at whatever age that you want. You don't have to retire at 55. Okay, well, 55 is the entitlement age. You can leave your money at FNPF and continue to earn interest. And then we will pay you the interest that we pay to each member. So no, the option is available. There's also another account, what may be suitable for the person that's asking. There's also a new retirement product that we have introduced, which is called the member drawdown account. You can leave your money at the FNPF. You choose a monthly payment that's paid to you. There are two standards. One is a normal one and one is a higher standard. You get a monthly income, that's the beauty. And not only that, you are also paid interest on your balances. So once you get a monthly payment to cater you look after your expenses and things like that, you also in interest on your money. In case you also undergo any emergency or there's a need for you to draw out some portion of that money lump sum, you are allowed to do that each year. But then the money continues to earn interest, but then it will run off when the money in your account finishes. So if you want to inquire about that product, I would encourage each and every one of you to go to our website, www.myfnpf.com, or pop into one of our offices, and our offices will gladly help you explain the product to you. Minak.
First of all, a very good morning to you all. That question happened to be coming from me, Mahendra Pratap. I'm a retired person, but I am not a pensioner. I have already celebrated my 60th birthday. My money is still there. I know I can keep there for 10 years from my retirement. But my question over there is, I do not want to take the whole sum out. Maybe I need 30,000 out per year or 20,000 per year. That's why I put the question in that way. My money will be there. It is going to help NPF gain interest. My money will be also kept safely, and FNPF is also going to gain. So one withdrawal per year till the time I think I should take the whole sum out. But this is the 5th year I haven't taken out. That's my question. That's my suggestion, not a question. And the other one, the DD account or something, drawdown account, we are not very familiar with it. Because even I think those personals in FNPF are not that well informed. It's on the paper, and hence we are asked, go down to the website. Remember, how many of we have got the technical device at home? Not all of us. So it should be through the FNPF officers or through the FNPF office. Do not ask us to go to that particular website. That is the last option, I think, to go to the website. Explanation should be done, and I think if you are prepared enough, get down on board there, write it down how it works, so that we are aware of it. That is called coming to a forum with full, preparation. Not just sitting, talking, because that does not give us that much. Get down with that whiteboard, paper, pen, and explain it to us. Thank you.
So I think apart from the website, we've got our offices there, and you can see me or any of my colleagues, and we'll provide you the workings. I'll explain in detail how DDA works. We will be able to assist you, sir. We've got the workings here. Unfortunately, I don't have it on the slide, but there's two options. One is a standard plan, one is a high payment plan. So there's two plans, and the DDA product actually allows you to do one withdrawal per year in case of emergency, as you had alluded. In addition to that, it also works like an annuity product. It gives you monthly annuity. Now, your earlier suggestion, sir, where you said you want to leave some of the money behind and take some, I think we are currently working on that one. That's, I think, section 52. Huh? Section 52, we will work on that, and as we make progress on that, we will definitely come back to you on the outcome of that particular section which is in our legislation. But the DDA account, we are familiar, our staff are at the back. I think our apologies for saying go to the website. For people who are able to go to the website, that option is there. But people who are not able to go to the website, that's why we still have our offices. We haven't closed down our branches. That's what our officers are here to assist you. And please see me after this. I'll come and see you, sir.
I think ma'am probably didn't hear me properly. I gave out two options. I said, you can access our website or you can go to our offices. The current generation, there's about 200,000 of our members, they've downloaded our MyFNPF app. So the future is via the MyFNPF app. So we need to provide for those that are technologically savvy. That's why there's a digital platform from them. But otherwise, you are more than welcome to visit any of our offices. And our offices will be glad to explain that to you. Vinaka.
Vinaka, the floor is still open for questions. Kendolo tunangon ni taro, kepakandonom ni taro, kuni maro chiko, tarong aramay.
You can also ask the questions in Hindi as well. We'll be able to answer those as well, and in the Fijian language as well.
Just echoing what our coordinator has mentioned, this is the forum to ask questions. This is the whole reason why we've come here. Please don't be frightened to ask questions. It's no use after we finish this forum, then you go and have your own sessions in your own grog bowls or in the market, and then you ask yourselves. Whilst we are here, this is the opportunity to ask questions. Please ask the question, because all of you have questions and you would want to answer the queries that you have. Because we've got nothing to hide as far as we are concerned. We want to make sure that when we go from here, you are clear on any doubts that you may have on the fund. Vinak. Vandiao takachuga, Vinak monitor. Kuni sa otsina nito bimbuki ningele nang buno ningunyang gona sa na market ningele tarokina. Mataas ang sarang doon ang betena. May nasindo wararam tekin. Kena vanongo, kena ngona, kito sa chingo, may kito sumabadon doon na taro. Niyalo mina, taro da mga ako nindo rongoda, seo nindo kaway kina. Ni taro nga naman ako, sindo na taro kito ni sinsew. Binak.
Thank you. We have a gentleman in the front.
One more question, just regarding to the servicing, our service, FNPF. I think customer service is one thing is more important. One important thing is that we need some improvement in our service. I think customer service is very important. At least when we come, especially in Suva, when we come to your head office in the Boulevard, I think it's we're trying to get in touch with some of your senior members in the FNPF. Just like it's very, very hard for us to get in touch with them. So, but we can see whatever our new governments have been doing. They've been transparent now. Their doors have been open to the members. So we can improve our service, especially in the customer service improvement for us as members of the FNPF. Thank you.
Point taken. So we'll leave our numbers and our email address, our mobile number with you, so you can call us anytime if you want to.
Our context.
Thank you. There's another question from the gentleman in the...
Sir, I would like to throw some light upon the renewal of living certificate. I mean, renewal certificate of our pension. When we go to Labasa office, before there was a special provision, there was a special teller who used to cater for all these renewal certificates. But now when we have to go and take the ticket and sit. See, we are always in a rush. That's a very small thing. We have to wait there for half an hour or 40 minutes. So it's our very humble request if we can have this service separate. Those who want to renew their certificates, just go there, sign off, and then goes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We apologize for that. In fact, we have, if you may have gone to the Labasa office, you would have seen as you enter this customer service on the right, and there is another office on the left. That was supposed to be our pension center, and we will reopen that one as what we have in Suva. And for pension services, for your renewals, for any other queries that the member services pensioners have, we will make sure that service is resumed ASAP. Thank you. And sir, I think your earlier question on customer service, we take that on board, and we have our contacts on the slide. You feel free to contact us anytime. And it's not like, no, we have open door policy at FNPF. We are not, closed doors. It's not like we don't exist. We are there. You can call us anytime.
So we have another question here. Okay, we'll go to an online question. Why is the unemployment limited to 6 months? Why not allow those who have been unemployed longer than that to apply?
Thank you for that question. Just to clarify, we are currently reviewing our pre-retirement withdrawal grounds, and that includes the unemployment, and there's a review that's currently happening, and whereby we have incorporated some of the feedbacks and the suggestions that we have obtained from all the forums that we have gone, and it will include this one and also the one in Taviuni. We will then make changes. Like any organization, the FNPF periodically reviews its policies and products, and that's a requirement for us in terms of our compliance and governance standards. As and when we make the relevant changes, as long as it's value adding to our members and in alignment with our mandate, we will make the relevant changes. When we make the relevant changes, we will make the relevant public announcements so that members are aware. Good luck.
Naka, I know this question has already been posed, and it was posed a few years ago at the Labasa Forum at your office here, regards to development investment in the north. I believe that there isn't any yet, if I'm correct. Can you confirm that? Investment development in the north?
We don't have any at the moment.
Okay. I believe you have mentioned that there's a procurement of land in the north. What are your plans for that land development, and how will it boost the north economy?
Again, we've got a land bank policy, so what we starting with that we're actually acquiring prime land on urban sites around the country. How we use the land will depend on our master planning, so how we'll utilize. Understand the land that we're intending to acquire is close to the modern city, which is right on the hillside, FSC land I'm referring to. So we know that's the development site. Everything that we're intending to will be part of our master planning process. What is the most best fit that we can use on a particular land? So nothing in particular. In terms of investment too, we are indirectly in the north through our Vodafone franchise. We are the biggest shareholders of TFL, Daytech, Vodafone, Fintel. So we are part of FSC. We have 75%. So indirectly we are here. We are also the biggest, one of the 5 biggest shareholders of BSP Bank Group Global. So indirectly we are already in the north.
I can add on to the question about the investments which our CEO has alluded to. The FNPF is predominantly an investment organization. Without investments, we will not be able to pay you the kind of interest that you expect us to pay you. So the FNPF has to keep on investing. So the FNPF is always on the lookout for investment opportunities, whether it's in the West, on the North, or in Fiji. Some of our asset is overseas, but we are always potentially looking for investment opportunities. If we think that it creates value for us, it's sustainable, we've mitigated it. Of course, it undergoes a thorough due diligence assessment before we part with your hard-earned members' funds. So for us at FNPF, investments is our lifeblood, really. Because when you look at it, when a member can start joining FNPF from as young as 6 years old. From 6 years old to 55, we are what's called a long-term investor. We also can ride the economic cycles. When there's a low, there's a boom, we are able to ride that. And the CEO has alluded to a land bank policy. So given that we have a long-term investment horizon, FNPF is always in the interest, is always on the lookout to acquire potential investment opportunities. That's why we're on the lookout to acquire parcels of land that we see that has a potential for future development. In fact, we've got a substantial land bank that we hope to capitalize and develop further into the future. So the FNPF is always on the lookout for investment opportunities, but of course, before we part or invest into any project, we will have to do the relevant due checks. And at the end of the day, what we earn must enable us to pay the kind of interest that you, our members, expect of us. So I hope I'll just explain that in terms of our investments.
Vinaka, we'll go to another online question. Can FNPF work with Fiji Airways for airline discounts? We now have shares in Fiji Airways, local fares at least, especially to Labasa.
Fiji Airways is an entity on its own. We own only 30.2%. We are not the only owner. So it depends on the shareholder, again, on the operation ability for them to offer discount.
Naka. The floor is still open, ladies and gentlemen. Questions? We have a question in the front, the lady.
Good morning. My name is Renu. It's just a suggestion, like as you can see that this forum is held on a Saturday. So most of the workers are at work. So they do not get access to the information we are getting. We have mostly retirees here or pensioners and those who don't work on a Saturday. So if those people who are at work could be given newsletters so that they could also access to the information that we are getting, because they are unaware of all this information. So it's just like if all this information could be posted to them through postal, I think you may be having their box numbers and all those. It's just a suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that suggestion, and we appreciate that. I think you've also probably noticed that the FNPF has really been active in terms of, if you turn on the radio, you'll hear something about FNPF. If you turn on the FNPF, you'll see something about the FNPF. If you pick up the newspapers, you'll see something about FNPF. That's intentional effort on our part to ensure that our members get access to information. What we are finding out is some people just don't know some of the information about the FNPF. This is what's making them make the wrong call, because they just don't know. So what we have is, we have what is called a member advocacy team, but you are more than welcome to get in touch with our manager, Labasa, because there's a team that can actually come to the workplaces of our people. They will come and do a presentation on what's the investments and all of that. They also do counseling, retirement. And I would encourage to tell your friends, if they want us to come to their workplaces or their communities, is to drop a line to our manager in Labasa. They will make the arrangements to come and do a presentation. In fact, we encourage, we've actually got a member in education advocacy team that does that. But our offices in Labasa can also come and do it. They will very much welcome that opportunity to come and present at your workplaces. And you get to ask any questions that you have. Not only that, but church groups, community groups, and all of that. Our team is ready to come and do the presentations. But thank you for that suggestion.
Vinaka, we have another online question. For education assistance, can FNPF extend it to buying laptops, especially for tertiary students?
Thank you. That's a common request that's coming from all our stakeholders, given the age that we are in now. I've mentioned that we are currently doing a review where we are reviewing educational assistance and the pre-retirement withdrawal grounds. That's one of the things that we are looking at in terms of laptops for to be allowed under the education withdrawal grounds.
Naka.
When we make the relevant decision, we'll make the relevant public announcements.
Thank you. We will be closing the question and answer session soon. So please, if you have questions to the floor, you may ask.
Sorry, it's me again. We have freehold land in Nitasiri, and the title is under my parents' name and my elder siblings. But I would like to assist them to at least draw from my general account in at least maintaining our home, our family home. Is that possible? Because I've approached FNPF Suva and I've been told that I can't do that.
So is the title under your name?
My parents and my two elder siblings.
I think we are quite concerned about your savings and how you use it, because we do not want you to face problems when you are investing your hard-earned savings into renovating a property that's not under your name. If the title is under your name, FNPF will not stop you from withdrawing and renovating your house or investing in a property. But if there is an instance when you are going to renovate a family home, and we've seen from previous situations where there are family disputes and our members have lost their hard-earned savings. So one of the criterion for you to invest in a property or renovate or upgrade or do any solar electrification or water tank or anything, especially renovation and upgrades, that's when we need your name to be on the title. We do not want a letter from your parents saying that you live with them and there won't be any issues. We will go with the legal document. We want your name on the title.
Contribution to my family.
We are totally aware of that situation and we do respect your right to assist your parents in renovating and giving your share, but there are some rules that we have set in place for your own security.
Just a suggestion. I mean, if your name is added onto your title, to that title, your name has to be on that title. Under love and natural affection, you can easily do that transfer. If your parents are willing to give you, to add your name onto that title, and we will gladly assist you.
I understand that, but in the meantime, well, I guess there's no option for me then, eh? My name has to be on the title.
Vinaka, we'll have another online question. Can FNPF extend the micro business assistance to those under 50 years old? That question again, can FNPF extend the micro business assistance to those under 50 years old?
Are for members who are 50 years of old age and have got more than $10,000 in their general account. That is what the criteria was set. I think the question is if the age can be lowered. Definitely, if you're thinking about 40 or 45, you still have a bit of years to go before your retirement, and we want you to accumulate your savings so that you can have a meaningful retirement income. So at this point in time, we've set the age at 50, but we do take your feedback. We will go back and deliberate on it and propose it to the board for their outcome.
Thank you. Can we get a final question from the floor?
Just because there were a lot of questions on investments and the government borrowing and government security. We would just like to, we just want you to refer to the summary that you have on page 17. No, we've explained about the government borrowings there. On page 16, we've explained about the investments in Fiji Airways. So we would like you to sort of go through that because these are information that you need, need to have. And no, there are other information on our investments that a lot of members are not aware. If I can just probably just give you a quick snapshot of what FNPF owns. I know our CEO has alluded to that fact. I'll just take a walk with you from Suva. Those of you that are familiar with Suva. The FIRCA headquarters in Suva, that's owned by you and I as members of the FNPF. FIRCA is just paying rent to us. Okay? When you come past the president's house, the state house, you have the holiday, you have the GPH. That hotel is owned by you and I, 100%. That's belongs to FNPF. Or you go through the Holiday Inn, that hotel is owned by FNPF. And then you go past the HFC. HFC is owned by FNPF 75%. And the building on which HFC is owned, that's owned by FNPF. And then you go past that, you go through the tall building in FDB, opposite the FDB, the Dolphins. That tall building is owned by FNPF. As you continue down the road, that Victoria Corner, there's a restaurant there which is Victoria Wines, and that's owned by FNPF. And then the Mercury House on the left, that's owned by FNPF. The old National Bank building, which is Schooner Park on the side, that's owned by FNPF. And then further down the road, Queensland Insurance Arcade, that's owned by FNPF beside ANZ. And then you continue right to Nganilau House. Nganilau House is owned by you and I as members of the FNPF. And then you take a walk to MHC, you go through Harbour Center. That Harbour Center where Pizza Hut is, that's owned by FNPF. And then the old Burns Phillip building, that's owned by FNPF. Kong Tai Plaza, that's owned by FNPF. Then you go to Tamavua, you go to Vodafone. Vodafone is 73% owned by FNPF. So those of you that have a Vodafone telephone, you are also contributing to the interest in FNPF. And that building is owned by FNPF. Okay, not excluding the landing site at Laudala Bay, and then you go to Rewanga, the agricultural building in Rewanga. Those two buildings are owned by FNPF, opposite. So these are all owned by FNPF. And then of course down the Coral Coast, you have Natandola, you have the Marriott, and then you go to Nandi. You have Westin and Sheraton. These are all assets owned by FNPF. BSP, as the chief had alluded to, we are the 5th largest shareholder. BSP Papua New Guinea owns BSP in Fiji. And via our shareholding in ATH, we own the telecommunications company in Western Samoa, in in Kiribati, in the Cook Islands, in Vanuatu, and we've now gone into Papua New Guinea. So this is the FNPF footprint, apart from shareholdings overseas. So we just want you to understand this, because FNPF has got a well-diversified investment base, whereby the interest that we earn from these investments allows us to pay the kind of interest that we pay you at the end of each year. And we would ask you to please go and read through this information and share it amongst your people. It's very informative information. Vinak.
Vinaka, if there's no more questions, that brings us to the end of our question and answer session. At this point, I would like to acknowledge the following: South Pacific Recordings for providing visual and sound, Post Communication Agency for their live stream services, and the Fiji Association for the Deaf. Before we close in prayer, I will invite our Chief Executive Officer for his closing remarks.
I just want to re-emphasize what we've stated in a number of statements we've mentioned, and also on the presentation, that your FNPF is safe. It's in safe hands. My colleague has talked about our investment locally, and again, I cannot be seen as boasting, but we are the biggest financial institution of the country. And we were supposed to be, because you are the workers of the country. And to tell you a bit of story, a number of major investment we've done. In particular, I won't mention name. We were in competitive bidding with a number of bigger company, they price higher than us. But the winning bid, whenever we mention that you're selling back to the workers, that is the switch key, that the seller normally pick FNPF as the buyer. So you can see that majority of the people that are investing in Fiji understand the plea that FNPF represent the workers of the country. So when we state that FNPF is safe, that is not an understatement. And I want to re-emphasize in particular the act. We are guided, that is the Bible that guides our operation. And Section 2 of FNPF Act states that the purpose of FNPF is to accumulate sufficient saving for income on your retirement. And that is the sole purpose. That's for a reason you can state that we've split our funding into 70 and 30 purpose. Preservation is 70, 30 is for partial withdrawal, and 70 for retirement. So everything that is done under law, that is intentionally to meet the objective, the purpose of the objective. Again, I've referred to our intention. Our intention to be in the north is there. As I've stated, we have, for any consideration for investment, every dollar that we have, it's either a dollar to be spent in Viti level or a dollar to be spent in Labasa or in the north. So our intention is to focus on the Viti level. Purpose was for the reason because we're getting more for members. But our Look North intent is there because government has already mentioned about the Look North policy. Not only the previous government, the existing government also has that intention. So, mark my word, FNPF will be in the north soon. And again, I want to thank you for taking the time to be here today. I know it's a Saturday, you've got other important things to do, but this is part of your asset. FNPF is your asset. It's under your name. That's the thing about FNPF. The funds that we hold for you is under your name. It's not under any other name. It's not under government's name. Government is the trustee that ensure that whatever we do according to law has to protect the fund. And from previous government, the position has always been the same, that we are given the independence to choose freely, we are guided by law, our requirement for investment is based on due diligence. I've stated in what I mentioned about Fiji Airways, we've gone through numerous processes. We appointed the best in the world, rather than in civil aviation, whatever it is. Whatever investment we've done, we choose the best. We go through competitive bidding to choose the best before we spend any cent for any investment. Again, having said that, I wish you the best and safety on your way back home, and God bless. Punaka.
Thank you, CEO. Final reminder, please complete your feedback form that's in your member forum packs and pass it to one of our staff. And also our services are available, including printing of cards. If you don't have a card, we can also get that done today. Thank you. Let's close with prayer. Our Father in heaven, we approach you once again this morning to thank you for overseeing our program today. We thank you for the lives of our pensioners, our members, and our employers, and thank you for the fruitful discussion we've had this morning. As we return this afternoon, we ask you for travel's mercies. Please bless everyone present here and those joining us online. We leave the rest of the day's activities in your hands, and this prayer we pray in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We wish you all a safe and prosperous 2023. Naka.